What is up, everybody? Welcome back to 9 to 5 Gamers, and today I am a little bit sick. Came down with some kind of a cold or something, so today, instead of me doing a top 10 list, I figured I'd invite a friend. Right now everybody's working, so my only friend is the internet. And so I actually asked ChatGPT, an AI, to tell me what are the best board games of all time, and ChatGPT actually came up with a list. As a matter of fact, it was a pretty intricate list. Now, one of the interesting things about it, because I plan to do a couple more of these videos, but one of the interesting things is that the AI is only up to like 2021, I think. It's only fluent in information up to 2021, so it doesn't know anything from last year, or it's still kind of learning from last year, all the information that's out there, and it doesn't have really much information past 2021. At least that's the limitation that ChatGPT told me. But I told him, hey, of all time that's always existed, and these are the board games that ChatGPT came with. So if you are new to the channel, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications so that way you know all the times whenever I am posting new videos. I think like 75% of our audience is like YouTube recommendations and not subscribers. So subscribe, please. It helps out the channel a lot, man. Plus, at 10,000 subscribers, I'm doing another giveaway. So we'll see you guys at 10K. All right, so ChatGPT, let's see what they came up with. So the first thing that it says is ChatGPT said, determining the top 10 best board games of all time, unquote, is subjective and can vary based on personal preferences, playstyles, and cultural influences. However, there are several board games that have consistently received high praise and popularity over the years. Here's a list in no particular order. So these are in no particular order, but let's just start. Should we start with number 10 or should we start with number 1 then? Well, let's start with number 1. Number 1, Settlers of Catan, a pioneer in modern board gaming. It involves resource management, trading, and strategy to build settlements and cities on the island of Catan. So Settlers of Catan is a great game. I love this game, and I think it's pretty obvious that there's a lot of people out there who love it as well. So that's a pretty good pick for the list. I think that would be something that just about everybody loved, because if we're talking all time, this makes sense, because Settlers of Catan is definitely a top tier game of all time category. I think there's a lot of games that are doing better now, but again, this is based off of like 2021. But yeah, it's a classic, so why not, right? Or is it considered a modern classic? I think it came out in 1995, so I think it's a classic at this point. Make me feel so old. Number 2 is chess. It says, a classic strategy game that has stood the test of time, involving careful planning and foresight to outmaneuver your opponent. I actually don't play chess, which is actually pretty interesting. I think I learned maybe once or twice how to play and played a couple of games, but I like the game, but I just wasn't very good at it, I suppose, and I guess it's a little bit too abstract for me, but I enjoy it. Chess is a great game. So that's, I guess, why I made number 2. Number 3 is interesting. Ticket to Ride, a railway-themed board game that combines strategy, planning, and a bit of luck as players collect train cards to claim routes and to complete destination tickets. Now, if you never played Ticket to Ride is a great game. I had the original version, and then I ended up getting rid of it just because I played it so much to the point where I just got kind of tired of it. And then recently I've been like, man, I'm in the mood to play some Ticket to Ride, and luckily I got Ticket to Ride Europe, the 15th anniversary edition. So I got myself a copy of Ticket to Ride now. But it is a great game, man. It's just so easy to play and so easy to get to the table. You can actually literally teach just about anybody how to play Ticket to Ride. It's not complicated. There are probably some expansions that make it a little bit more complex maybe, or maybe different versions of it. But from what I've heard that for the most part, it is very, very simple. Ticket to Ride's great. It's good. Number 3. All right, number 4, Pandemic. A cooperative game where players work together as a team of disease-fighting specialists to eradicate 4 deadly diseases threatening the world. Pandemic is a great game. There's another good pick. These are all classics, modern classics, if you will. I don't think they're modern classics per se. I think some of these are too old to be considered modern classics, but Pandemic's a great game. And the good thing is that it's a cooperative game. There aren't a lot of cooperatives. I think back in the day, we had games, but most of the games were competitive. That's why growing up with the family that I grew up with, it's like, oh, this is what? Cooperative? How do you win then? It doesn't make any sense. Like, people can't, like, grip the idea that there are games where you have to work together. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a Spanish thing, because I feel like if I explain that to just about anybody, everybody would be like, oh, okay, neato, let's do it. But for some reason with Hispanic folks of my family, they're just like, what? So who wins? How do you win? This doesn't make any sense. Like, I need to beat you. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. We don't have to be violent. Relax. Pandemic's a great game, and I love that it's cooperative, and I love teaching people that cooperative game. The only thing is that I don't like too much about Pandemic is that it leans into that quarterbacking or alpha gamer type thing where people are just telling you what to do with your hands. And, you know, like, honestly, the last time I played Pandemic, the group was so, like, I don't understand it. I'm like, I explained the game, and they understood how to play the game, but they just didn't know what to do on their turn. Like, they were confused, and I felt like I was having to play for everybody, and I didn't want to do that, so I was trying to be like, it's okay, just make a play, and I'm sure we'll be fine. They're like, no, tell me, please tell me. And I'm like, I was like, I don't want to play as 4 people when I play this game. And I don't know, man, people, it's a good strategy game, so I think there's a lot of people who enjoy the game and can play it. So I guess if you play with, like, gamers, but a lot of my people in my play groups, they don't really play or buy board games. They just play them when they come to my house. But that's number 4. Number 5, Risk. A classic world domination game where players use armies to conquer territories and continents, combining strategy and diplomacy. I actually can't remember the last time I even played Risk. I know it's a great game, and it's that's a classic game. Like, that is a very older game. I don't really remember much about it. I just remember that it was a fun game, and I think there's a lot of games that are probably better than Risk today. But Risk is still a great game. Number 6 is Carcassonne, a tile-laying game where players take turns drawing and placing tiles to build medieval landscapes, earning points by claiming features like roads, cities, and fields. That's as simple as it is. I have played Carcassonne, and I enjoy it somewhat. I'm not a big fan of tile-laying games. I just can at times find them a bit boring. Like, they don't feel like they're very, like, oh snap, look what you did to me kind of things. I feel like Carcassonne can get you there. It just takes a little while to build up. But that's why I like Land vs. Sea. Land vs. Sea is a tile-laying game that's super, super fast, and you and your opponent are just going at each other. It's just a one-on-one, which is why I prefer it. But Carcassonne's still a great game. I could understand why it made the list. Number 7, Dominion, a deck-building game where players use a starting deck to acquire new cards and build a powerful deck over the course of the game. So, yeah, Dominion's a great game. I just got rid of my copy because it wasn't getting played, and I had that really big box that just had so many. It had like one expansion, but the box was like the size of 2 boxes put together. It didn't make any sense to own it. But it's a great game. I love Dominion. Dominion's like the original deck builder, and I think it's such a good game. Dominion has a good amount going for it, but one of the things against it is just the theme, man. The theme can be so boring. It's like, man, if they made like Dominion, like outer space, probably would have immediately vamped up. But when you get into like this old like Renaissance-y looking, Dominion needs a facelift. Twilight Struggle, a 2-player game simulating the Cold War with players taking on the roles of the United States and the Soviet Union, engaging in political, military, and espionage struggles. Twilight Struggle is a game I have not yet played. I know that it's supposed to be really, really good. I don't know how into history games I am, but I know my wife likes history. She's a history teacher, so maybe it might be a game she would be interested in playing. And it is 2-player, so it'd be the perfect game for me and her to play. I just don't see it ever getting to the table, which is why I haven't picked it up. I would buy Twilight Struggle if I found a very, very cheap version of it. But I've heard it's a really good 2-player game, probably one of the best 2-player games of all time. And that's cool, too, that it made this list because there's a lot of variety in the list. There's competitive, abstract, there is easy, almost party-ish type. There is cooperative, there's tiling, deck building. It's got a little bit of everything peppered in here, and this is a 2-player game only, which is good. Number 9 is 7 Wonders, a civilization building game where players draft cards to develop their cities. construct wonders, and compete for resources and victory points. Seven Wonders is fantastic. I really, really love Seven Wonders, it's a great game. And it doesn't play super slow. One of the things with Seven Wonders is that it's a quick drafting game, and I love the drafting aspect of it, and it's not complicated to learn. You know what I mean? I feel like it's one of those games that's like Gateway Plus. Like, it's like, hey, this is a game that's really easy to play, like Ticket to Ride. Now let's play a game called Seven Wonders. It's a step up in complication, I think, but it's still not a complicated version. And if somebody wants to debate me that Seven Wonders is not hard or complex, they made Seven Wonders Architects, right? They wouldn't have made that if it wasn't a slightly complex game. I don't think it's a hard game at all, and that's why I said I think it's Gateway Plus. But with Seven Wonders Architects in the fray, I think Seven Wonders Architect makes it completely Gateway and easier to play. But I haven't played Architects yet. I just had too much. I had Seven Wonders. I had Seven Wonders Duel, which I think is arguably the best Seven Wonders experience. But hey, Seven Wonders is a great game. Doesn't surprise me that it made this list. And then last but not least is Agricola, a farming-themed strategy game where players manage a family's resources, expand the farm, and balance various aspects of agriculture to earn points. Agricola is great, man. I love Agricola. I got a copy of it for like $30, and I was like, you know what? It's ding and dent. It's $30. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up so I can have like almost every Uwe Rosenberg game that exists on the face of the planet, which is not true because I'm missing like a ton of those games. Was it Reiner? No, Reiner. I think it was Reiner Knizia is the one who like made like 700 games. Like, that guy is a monster at producing games. Agricola is great. I think that earning the 10th spot here is really, really good. I like Agricola. I prefer Caverna for my playing experience. But if Agricola, I feel like, is a little bit shorter, and the card management is actually a really cool aspect. And it also has honorable mentions. Honorable mentions would be Puerto Rico, which I have not yet played. Splendor, which is a really good game, and I have a couple copies of that here. And Codenames, word association game, right? If you haven't played Codenames, where have you been? Hiding under a rock. But so that concludes ChatGPT's top 10 board game list. What do you guys think about this board game list? Is it legit? And if we were to modernize this list, what games do you think would make it in this list? If we were to do this list modernized, and we're talking about games of top 10 games of all time, what game do you think deserves a slot in the top 10 games of all time ever? Right? There's top 10 personal subjective experience, because I haven't played every single game, so I have my own top 10. But what do you think belongs in the top 10 of all time, like that should be in there? I could say these are all really good choices. But you guys let me know in the comment section. And thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. All of those things help the channel. And if you're feeling super generous and you're like, yo, I want to give this guy money, that's great. Go ahead and join our membership. Memberships are as low as $3 a month, and they give you early access to videos, exclusive videos that are just for your eyes only. That's pretty much it. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I will check you guys out later. Peace out. See you guys soon.